Team. It's me, Dr. Sylvia Bollie, America's obesity doctor, here for another edition of Fit in 15, where FIT stands for Fitness Inspired Through Teamwork. So if you've been following me, you know my passion, my mission is to help busy people, especially working women and moms, come up with practical lifestyle interventions to help us obtain and maintain our happy, healthy weight. So this month is September, back to school, back to life. We only have a third of the year left, and so I keep saying a third, it's a fourth, man, 25%, so it's not even a third. So yeah, so things are about to get real really quick, and so we're busy. It's easy to forget those basic things, so we're going back to basics. Get it? Ha 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 ha, like back to basics, but okay, I digress, because we're talking about weight and weight management, weight loss. But anyway, so last week we talked about breakfast basics. This week, of course, we're going to talk about lunch basics. So I know you're like, what can we say about lunch? Same old is what you eat. But for me in my weight loss journey, what I really realized was that lunch is about more than food. It is about stress relief. If you're a busy person, especially if you work, but even if you stay home and you work from home, or you're an at-home mother, that is a lot of work. I have one child. I have a 4-year-old, and you know, when I come home, it's very intense and trying to do what we have to do to get things done. So I can imagine being home all day with him. I appreciate his teachers and his grandparents, all the people who help take care of him, because I know it's a lot of work. So wherever you are in the daytime, you work. Okay, so let's get that clarified first. So yes, so you need a break from stress, and that's what lunch should be. So I'm going, my lunch basics, my goal is to get you out of here in 15 minutes. So my lunch basics, like I said, are 3 things to help de-stress. Number 1 is to pack your lunch, or to prepare your lunch ahead of time. Number 2 would be to pick mood foods for your lunch. So what are the contents of your lunch? And number 3 would be to prioritize your lunch break. Actually make it a break. Take a break. So I'm going to talk about those 3 things. So number 1, prepare or pack your lunch. It seems so simple for those of us who went to school. Maybe your parents always had your lunch prepared, or your caregiver had your lunch prepared for you, and we kind of took that for granted. Or when you got to school, there was a lunch at school for you, so you take that for granted. And in adulthood, it's easy to slip up on that. So in the healthcare industry, it's very common for us to have meals brought to us by industry. And so when I first started working, especially before I was very weight conscious, or before I started my 40-pound weight loss program, I was eating what was brought to me. One week, I kid you not, it was the week I actually decided I was going to get healthy. Every day for lunch, the reps brought in fried chicken, because there were different reps, so they kept bringing in fried chicken. It was a week of fried chicken. I was like, oh Lord, they're trying to sabotage my weight loss plan. So that was my wake-up call, that I did not need to depend on people bringing food. I needed to prepare my food. Now you're like, oh, I'm busy, what am I going to do? What I do, and the quickest, easiest thing, is to, number 1, make larger quantities at dinner time. So this week I'll be sharing with you on my Instagram, and mostly on Instagram, and I'll share it here on Facebook too, in YouTube, is that I will be sharing my dinner to lunch meals, like show you the before and after, so to speak. So that will give you an idea of how I do it with meals. Now, not every day I'm good like that, because again, we're busy and life happens. You know, I'm a realist. So what I do on those days, I have what I call 3-minute meal stuff. I have things in the freezer, and I'm not talking about TV dinners. I'm not a fan of those. You guys know I like real food. So basically, I haven't found one that I'm crazy about, but I may have some frozen components. So I may have like a veggie burger. I may have a nitrate-free or non-additive free organic chicken, grilled chicken that's in the freezer. And then those bags, I've showed you some of the Bird's Eye, like complete meal bags that I use that are vegetables with the protein added. So those are the kind of things. So I call those like my 3-minute meals. So I'll have like components that I can use in the freezer, or even meals like I made a lot, and you know, by the second day people are tired of eating it. I just put it in little containers and I use those later, and they have really come in handy for those mornings or the days that I can't make a fresh meal to take with me. I also keep my quick meals on hand, components of my quick meals, so like a bag salad. You guys probably, so look back at my previous blog entry about quick meals and you can see about that. So those are some of the tricks about preparing a meal and taking it with you. And then if worst case scenario you cannot prepare your meal, or you don't have a quick meal on hand, you can choose something healthy. So all of you by now, if you've been following me, should have that list of your 10 healthy quick meals that you're going to go to when you eat out, so that you know, okay, this is one of those days I need to pull out my emergency meal. So go ahead, this is the time to use it. So number one is to prepare or to pack your lunch. And that is a stress reliever, because it takes the guessing out and the surprise of what may I eat. I don't have something healthy to eat. Number two would be to pick mood foods. So what are you eating for lunch? So I noticed for myself, confession time again, I was really cranky after lunch. Like that first hour after lunch would be very strenuous. And you guys were like, okay, you talked about hanger, now you're talking about slinger. That's what I call it, because I was sleepy. And I realized when I ate a lot of carbs at lunchtime, because I'm quite carb sensitive, it made me very sleepy because it was difficult to digest. So either carbs or high fat, they take a lot of energy to digest. And so all the energy that should be going cognitively to your head to help you process, especially when you have to get back to work, is now going to your stomach to digest this huge, big, fatty, heavy carb meal. And so it was making it very difficult to do my work. I was actually less productive after work. So what I did is, number one, once I recognized that, decrease my carb content for meal. For me personally, for lunchtime, I really can't go over like 50 carbs. And with my carbs, I choose from like the mood food list. So the mood foods are things that are typically high antioxidants, usually will be some whole grains. They have been shown to release some of the stress chemicals in to decrease the levels of stress chemicals in our body and release some of our happy chemicals. So I have a link to that also on my Fit Foodie blog for this week, and so you can take a look at those foods. But my go-to mood foods that I tend to use will be like sweet red peppers, kale, spinach. If I do a healthy carb, I usually will do like a sweet potato that doesn't affect me too much. I can get away with like some sprouted grain bread. I don't tend to do sandwiches for lunch just because of that reason, but if I do need a little bit of a bread, that's what I would use. So watch what you're actually eating. Watch how your food makes you feel this week. Think about it. Is this food making me feel like productive, ready to take on the world, or is it making me feel like blah and drained? It's probably food. So take a look at those mood food lists. So number two, pick mood foods. Pick empowering, productive foods that make you feel great for your lunch. Number three is probably the one that I'm most on my soapbox about. If you follow me on Twitter, like every day at noon, I post something about leave your seat, make lunch a retreat. Lunch is your break, enjoy it. The lunch break is too important to wait. And why do I post this? Because I want to remind us all that we need to take lunch. The whole concept of a lunch break it predates this generation, right? This was from when people were in the factory, in the mines, doing, very arduous work that needed to occur 24 hours a day. But they, even then, in those times, recognized that we need a break. We're not meant to work continuously. But in our busy century, we have tried, to do as much as we can every minute of the day. We feel like taking a break is a waste of time, but actually taking a break can make you feel more empowered and make you feel more productive for the rest of the day. So take a break. And in healthcare, I know sometimes it's very hard to take a break. In fact, part of this passion was born from when I was in residency, where we really didn't have a break. We had something called Noon Conference, and you guys know I am an unashamed cool nerd, super nerd. I love being a nerd. I don't care. So yes, and I love to learn. So I mean, I like the concept of, I like noon conference. I like learning and finding out new things. But once I went on an away rotation where we were mandated to have a lunch break. It was at the Department of Health and Human Services in the Office of Disease Prevention, and they were really big on wellness, and so my boss was like, you need to take a lunch break. So I started taking at least a 30-minute lunch break each day, and they actually had a walk break so you could do exercise in the day too. But I started doing that, and it made a big difference in my day. And that is when I noticed, I was like, we were meant to have lunch. Our brains need a little bit of rest. So I'm sorry, residents, I'm not telling you to skip noon conference. You have to go as part of your program, but maybe there are other ways in your day that you can take a break, maybe take a coffee break, take a quick walk around the hospital. But for those of us who do have more control over our schedule, and I say that loosely, there are days, yes, where I see patients, you know, that last patient comes in and they have a lot of problems. You need to spend time, so you don't get all the time that you were planning for lunch. But even then, I try to take 5 minutes away. So on my blog this week, I give you some tips on what to do. If you have 5 minutes, just step away from your desk and go sit. Like, I have a little, they call it Bollie Bistro. It's a seat by a window in our office, and I sit right there. If you have 10 minutes, take a walk around your office space. If you actually have 30 minutes, go outside, go somewhere else and take a break from your workspace. It really makes a difference. Give it a try this week. So guys, just to summarize, we're talking about Bite to Basics lunch. For me, lunch is all about stress relief, the ways to reduce stress and to help us get healthy and to reach our happy, healthy weight and maintain that weight. The way to do it is to, number 1, pack your lunch. Number 2 is going to, or prepare your lunch ahead of time. Number 2 is going to be to pick mood foods, look at the content of what you're eating. Is it making you feel good? Number 3 is going to be prioritize your lunch break and stepping away from your workspace. Even if you're an at-home mom, you guys sit at the table, do something that separates you away from your work and from the monotony of what you're doing. Stress is major when it comes to weight gain, so you want to make sure that you're working on reducing your stress. So that's what I have for you guys this week. I promise to get you out here in 15 minutes. You know, I never leave you without homework for the week or a Fit Focus. So our Fit Focus this week is quite simple, and it's going to be individualized to you. That is, focus on optimizing your lunch break. So which of those 3 things do you need to do? Do you need to practice preparing your lunch? Do you need to prioritize your lunch break? Or do you need to pick mood foods? Do what you have to do to reduce stress. So once again, Dr. Sylvia Bollie, America's Obesity Doctor, here to help us all get fit with fitness inspired through teamwork. You guys have a wonderful week, and look forward to checking back with you next week, where we'll be talking about upping our snack game. All right, have a great week. Bye, team.